Brad?
I'll kind of add on to that with the same theme is really just, we have three: integrity, passion, and stewardship. And so to kind of echo my fellow presenters is, it's the cornerstone of what we do. And how can we go out and lose the trust of the people that use our financial statements or look at the products that we develop is you have to have integrity. And to be able to develop relationships with your clients and those referral sources and your people, you have to have integrity. And so that's certainly a cornerstone of our practice. Passion, we try to instill that in the people that come into the business. We look for that on the college campuses or lateral hires that we're looking at. Do they have a passion? Do they have the drive? Do they have a fire in the belly to come in and work hard? And then stewardship, it's about treating people with respect, taking care of them, training them and developing them, and then also taking care of really the business and the clients at the same time.
So do you want to talk about how you, maybe some specific actions that you all took to maintain the culture throughout the merger, and what were the biggest challenges in that?
Well, we had known Virchow Krause for 20 years because we were part of Baker Tilly International for 20 years together. And so we've known them, we've been around them, we know their values. And so it made it pretty simple to get together and start to look at the merger transaction to see whether it made sense. They had very similar qualities, similar core values, and really the notion was, how do we go to market across the United States and serve our clients who continue to have broader needs across different jurisdictions, across the pond, everywhere. And we needed to have a bigger resource base behind us. And the only way to get to that was either you build it or you merge it and create it that way. So with the Baker Tilly brand that Virchow Krause had secured from Baker Tilly International, they approached us to say, do you want to go together and be Baker Tilly in the United States? So we're the largest Baker Tilly affiliate in the U.S. going to market as Baker Tilly in the U.S., similar to a Grant, similar to a BDO, or similar to some of the larger brethren. So it was simple, but yet it's still difficult to kind of mesh all of that together. You have geography issues, and they're flying here a lot, and we're flying there a lot, and there's a lot of cross-pollination that needs to take place. That just takes time. So you're not going to build a practice that you had or that you have in the Midwest here just like that, just because we're now Baker Tilly. It's going to take time, and I see other firms, the Goodmans and the Dixon Hugheses of the world, doing similar things. We're going to get bigger, and we'll continue to grow.
Can you identify a major challenge? What has been
communication and the messaging around it, and really trying to get everybody on the same page continues to be the main drive. Yeah. And just making sure everybody's singing from the same song sheet.
So how do you ensure that everyone is being communicated?
There's regular meetings, there's town hall meetings. We have the essence of Baker Tilly breakfasts with the managing partners in each of the offices. So it's a way to connect the messaging straight to the people that need to hear it. And that's everybody. That's administrative staff, that's the accounting team, that's the billers, it's staff, seniors, managers. And then we work in direct report trees, and you're really driving that down through your direct report trees with the partner that's in charge. So it continues to get pushed out. So it's a challenge. The communication in a larger organization, as each of you can attest, it's difficult.
I've been amazed, having experienced it both at Target, which is massive, and Advanced Auto Parts, which is large. The blend between the need to have a centrally controlled set of communications, and we have an internal communications department that can produce things that our team feels are reliable. Oh, okay, we know we're going to get this particular product on a certain day. We know the channels that we expect to receive communication through. We leverage some of those for direct messages from our CEO and other members of the senior team. And at the same time, it is incredibly important that you tell your leadership you will have the ability to translate whatever message that is through whatever channel through your own voice. And we are very, very passionate about telling our leadership it won't be enough to just simply say, the message is out. Because in our case, Darren Jackson sent something. The teachable point of view is something we talk about a lot, that we're really focused on telling our leaders. You have to spend time thinking about, new message is out. What is this going to mean to my team in particular with their discipline in supply chain or in the stores or in a particular area in corporate, and to translate that through a unique and teachable point of view. And the balance of those two normally is when we have our biggest wins with communication, we find that works well.
And I can add to that as well. In the past couple of years, when we were 100 or 200 employees, the word did get out, and it was pretty consistent, and it was not so complicated. But over the past couple of years, we have had to think of every possible communication method we can use and make sure we're consistent in every way possible. From the image in our newsletters to, ensuring that we have, we were not a meeting, we were not a meeting-centered environment, but now we've had to move a little more towards that so that we have a principal partners meeting where those messages begin, and then business unit and team meetings, and it works its way down to make sure that communication is consistent. And that's really just been in the past couple of years for us, because we were never big enough to need that full structure and to have an intranet and to do those types of things to make sure that communication flows from bottom to top and top to bottom and every other way.
I'll add on to that. What we found is when there's like a big message that needs to be shared with the staff, they already know it.
Yeah. They do.
That's a good sign.
They do.
I mean, it just gets out, and so the brush fire goes, and there it goes. It's through the staff ranks. So we probably have adopted a little bit of a wet cement theory, that we're not going to get it perfect, but we're going to get something out, and then we'll let it set. So I like that. We probably under the Beers and Cutler methodology we needed it to be firm cement before we would communicate anything. We're probably a little more on the wet cement side now, and it's been interesting, but it's been helpful.
I could pivot off one more time. I hear a lot of similar themes, even though obviously size is different. Transparency is one of the leading trust builders, and I think that's probably universal. I'd be interested if you agree. Speaking with our leaders about, you don't have to have perfection. When you really think about it, when you think about how you approach the USA Today or a magazine that you frequent or something on the internet.
TMZ?
TMZ, which I was just reading myself, how much retention can you really expect your team members to have right off the bat? Perfection, it's not really a possible thing. So if you have to lean towards something, lean towards transparency, and the other guidepost, I think, for us is simplicity. And in some cases, we don't have the luxury of feeling like it'll kind of get out there on its own. It has to be forced just due to pure volume in our case. But simplicity and transparency, I think, are serving us pretty well.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I know that we're always evolving as well, and a lesson that I've learned recently is even if you don't know yourself what's going on, you need to communicate that you don't know, because saying nothing is just makes people wonder and think of in their own mind what's going on, whereas you're kind of just waiting for it to cement, for it to harden. But sometimes just saying, hey, I don't really know what's going to happen, but I'll let you know when I know. Kind of
in the
helps.
absence of information, they're going to draw their own conclusions.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So go ahead and get something out there.
Right.
And I've been amazed how much team members will end up respecting a leader for that ability to say, I simply do not know. And even sometimes in certain cases where it's sensitive, I'm not privy to share quite yet. But the transparency, again, of this is where we stand, folks, and I'm giving you everything I possibly can, and I'll make a commitment to follow up, can be huge trust builders.